everyone and welcome back to another p5js tutorial. This time we'll be doing this bouncing ball that bounces off the edges of the screen, and you can pretty much change whatever. It has a random velocity and a random direction. So let's get into it. Okay, so here we have it, our project already set up and our live server already set up too. If you want to know how to install Atom, the live server, p5js, whatever, just click on this video and you'll know how. Okay, so let's start by creating a canvas that's window window width and comma window height. Okay, that's good. Then in the draw event I'm going to draw a background, white background this time, and now we're going to create a function called ball. And I write it with a V, with an uppercase B, because in the programming community we have a kind of standards, and as it is an object, it has to have an uppercase. It's like common to all programming languages. So now we're going to make a couple variables for the ball. The first one is going to be the position. That's going to be a vector, so create vector. And the variables we're going to give it are the x and y positions for the ball that I'm going to pass it in as arguments. So then this dot, the direction is going to be, well, we can create it two ways. The first one is the most elegant one, but you know, so p5 dot vector dot random to d. So this will create a normalized vector of 2D random. So we can write that, but for the purposes of this tutorial I'm going to create another vector, and I'm going to say random between -1 and 1, and comma random between -1 and 1. So those are the x and y coordinates between -1 and 1. So that's pretty much the same thing, but I don't know. In order to do a tutorial, you have to explain yourself, and I think this function represents more what we're doing. So now I'm going to give it a velocity that's going to be random between, I don't know, 20 and 50, for example. Okay, now I'm going to do two functions inside the ball object. So the update function is equals to a function. Damn, there you go. And a show function. Listen, you cannot type draw as a function, because otherwise when you call the ball.update, well, I'm sorry, the ball.draw, it'll just try to execute again this draw function in some cases. And for example, if you call it from another, you know, it can cause trouble, so don't do it. It's pretty much a law in programming. So in the update function we just want to multiply the velocity times the direction and add it to the position. But in order to do that, we have two main ways to do that. The first one is to get the well, I'm going to use, instead of bar, I'm going to use let. And if you want to know why, you must click in this video, because it's a pretty new thing in p5, well, in JavaScript in general. So if you are curious about it, just go click it. So let the I don't know, update position u pos equals the this dot there dot mult this dot pel, right? Well, wrong. This is wrong because of p5js things. So the correct way to do that is p5 dot vector dot mult, and then we give it the two vectors to multiply, because otherwise the thing we did before is the same as saying direction is equals to direction times velocity, and it returns this thing but also sets it to the direction. So it's in fact updating the variable, and we don't want that. We just want the value. And in order to do that, we just take the p5.vector and give it the function we want. So now we have to add the two of them. This time, as we want to update the function, the variable, we can add the other vector. So we're okay to go, I think. And in the draw function, I'm going to set it with a stroke, with a black stroke, for example, and I'm going to fill it with red. Why not? And I'm going to draw an ellipse in this dot pos.x, this dot pos.y, with a radius of about, I don't know, 30, for example. It must be okay. Let's check it out. So it appears we have an error. Background is not defined. So we should, oh yeah, because I forgot. Remember, when you create an object, once you create it, you have to declare it. So var ball. Notice this time I'm using var. I insist, it's really important to know the difference between bar and let. So bar ball, and here I'm going to say ball equals new ball, and I'm going to give it the mouse. Well, now I'm going to give it the width divided by 2 and the height divided by 2. So now we have to ball.update, and vol.show. And I didn't change the name. Remember to change this name. And now we should be good to go. You saw that? Just a ball going off the screen. There you have it. I'm going to make this stroke bigger. Stroke weight. It's going to be 10, for example. So let's see how it does. Yeah, I like it. I like it much more. So now we're going to move to to make it not go through the walls, but instead bounce off them. So in order to do that, I'm just going to type this.pos.x minus is my less than. Well, I'm going to make the radius a variable. So this.r is equals to 30, and I'm going to change it here, this.r and this.r. So this.pos.x is less than, well, this is the left edge of the screen, and if you notice, that position is 0, but I have to add it the radius of the ellipse, because otherwise it won't collide on the edge of the ellipse but with the center, and we don't want that. So we want the radius, but summon 0 to something is just ridiculous, so I'm going to put it out. Or this.position.x is greater than the width, so we're in this position, in this edge, plus, well, minus this.r. So we want to collide the center plus something in the with the width. So this is how it's done. And then this that pass that x, this that dir that x times equals -1. So we're changing the direction. So if we copy paste it, I always forget in Atom you don't have to select the whole line to just copy it. So instead of width it's height, and instead of x is y, and we already have it. There you go. It bounces like there was no tomorrow. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed, you learned something new. If you have any doubts, something went wrong, just comment it out, because we're paying attention 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 360